Hi everybody, it's Amy Rich with amyrich.net. I'm excited to share with you today a project made with the For the Record stamp set, which is found in the January to June mini catalog 2022. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. As I said, we are using a stamp set called For the Record, which is from the JJ22 mini catalog. And if you go almost all the way to the back of the catalog on page 74, you will find that stamp set here. And in my blog post that I have linked in the description below, I do share a card that doesn't use the record, but I think the record, of course, is the feature stamp in the stamp set that's really fun to use. So I am going to use that today, and I'm actually going to start with that. So I'm going to grab my Memento ink, and I like to ink it upside down because it gives me an opportunity to make sure it's all inked up just the way I like it, nice and juicy. And then we'll stamp it on a piece of scratch paper in basic white. And then I'm going to grab a piece of basic white cardstock that measures 2 inches by 5 inches. And for that, I am going to grab my DOTTY Hearts embossing folders from the annual catalog. And there are 2 of them, and they both fit through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And what I love about this machine is it's perfect for my desktop. And it is 20% off during the month of March 2022. And so that's really fun and exciting. So I'm going to grab the folder, and I'm going to put my 2x5 white cardstock in, and I want my hearts, both rows of the hearts, to line up there inside the cardstock. And then I use this line here at the bottom of my embossing folder to make sure it's straight. And I'm going to bring in plate 3, as you can see, used with standard embossing folders, which is what this is. And I will put my 1 plate goes first, and then my embossing folder, and then my 3 plate. And you can see the sandwich listed right here on the embossing folder. So then I'm going to run that through. And it's always good to put the top plate just a little bit ahead of the bottom plate, because then it catches and will run through really easily for you. And then while I have this mini boss out, I'm also going to cut that circle. So I will do plate 1, plate 2, and then I'm going to grab the second to the largest circle, which happens to be this one right here. And then I will center that as best I can and do the same thing. Put the top plate forward a little bit and then run it through for a perfect cut. So now we can check out what we have. We've got our DOTTY Hearts embossing folder, which turned out super cute. And then we've got our record. I also cut another circle out of the largest die in the layering circles dies so that they, of course, layer together nicely. And then I'm bringing in a piece of 8 by 5¼ inches of thick basic white cardstock. But I am going to cut a little bit off, and I've got it scored at 4 inches, so it's scored in the middle. But we're going to cut off 1 3/4 inches on one side. And that just creates automatically a little bit of a fun fold. So I'm going to fold that section over, which ends up to be 2 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to adhere my DOTTY Hearts on top of that. And so that I don't squish my embossing, if I can, I like to put my adhesive on what it's going on to. And I'm just careful not to put adhesive here where the edges will be sticking out. Then we're going to layer that onto our CALYPSO Coral card base, which is cut 4 1/4 by 5½. So it's the front part that opens. That's cute. Then I am going to bring in my Stamparatus, and I am going to put my card, I'm just going to pick a couple of lines here on which to line up my card so that I know it's straight. And then I'll add my magnets. And then I am going to line up my stripes so that it's hanging down off of the edge of the front of that flap. And I can see that it's relatively straight. And if I want to double check that, I'll use the grid lines to kind of eyeball where it's sitting. And then I'll close my Stamparatus over the top. Then I'm going to open this up and add my magnets again. And I only want to stamp it now on the inside using my CALYPSO Coral ink. So I'll ink that stripey stamp up. I love that stripey stamp. It is so sweet, and I have found it good for a few different things. And then I'm just going to close that over the top of my card and make sure I apply pressure to all areas of the stamp. And then voila. Let me move this out of the way. And now when I close my card, check it out. It's exactly where I wanted it. Love it. So I'm going to add my circle, and of course I'm only going to want adhesive on half of that CALYPSO Coral circle because that is going to sit off the edge of my flap. And then I'm going to quickly, yet carefully, just add a little color to my heart here. Little dark CALYPSO Coral along the edge, followed by, and you know what? I'm a brush tip gal because it goes faster. And I'm just gonna fill in color and finish it off, blending that dark color a little bit so that it's not such a line of color there. And then I'm going to pop this up onto my CALYPSO Coral circle. And I'll put 4 dimensionals on this circle. That ought to do it. Just like that. Then I'll grab the For the Record. I'm going to ink that up with my Memento ink. And I could use my Stamparatus for this too. It would help me make sure it was straight, but I'm going to eyeball it here. I'm taking my chances, living on the edge. And then You're Awesome goes next. And that will be with CALYPSO Coral ink. Nope. I think I want it in black. So You're Awesome, because then it offsets a little bit more from the stripes. So what I want to make sure is that it's going to be underneath that record. So I want to center it as much as I can. And yes. I am going to finish it off with some rhinestones. I'll use a little bit larger one here first and attach that there. Love my Take Your Pick tool for this. I am a believer in this thing. I love that ticky-tack end. It just picks up those rhinestones perfectly. And when you lay them down, it releases its magic, I'm telling you. Isn't that a great card? So don't forget to go and check out my blog. I have a post about this card along with a few others that I used the For the Record stamp set on. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this project today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.